So you send over this study, and I got to say, it really got me thinking, like, maybe we've been overcomplicating things this whole time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to, actually seeing results, like real tangible health benefits.
Right, right.
Forget, those hours slaving away at the gym. This research suggests something totally different. Something much simpler might be the key.
It is pretty remarkable, isn't it? We're talking just 5 minutes a day
5 minutes.
of very specific exercises, and the results they found were significant, especially for folks who weren't exactly gym rats to begin with.
That's what we're diving into today.
Absolutely. A deep dive into this study, aptly titled, Study Finds 5-Minute Daily Eccentric Exercises Can Boost Mental and Physical Health.
And I think it's something so many of us can relate to, right? Like we hear all the time, we need to work out more, harder, for longer.
Yeah.
But then life gets in the way.
Oh, tell me about it.
And the study's like, wait a minute, what if there's a different way? A more sustainable way to actually make a difference?
Totally. And that's what makes this so intriguing, right? It challenges that conventional wisdom about needing to invest huge chunks of time to see results.
So let's break this down for everyone listening.
Okay.
The core finding here, the thing that really jumped out at us, is that 5 minutes of these very specific body weight exercises done every day
Every day.
led to some pretty impressive improvements in both mental and physical health. And this was in people who were leading pretty sedentary lives before the study.
Right. Previously inactive individuals seeing these kinds of results in just 4 weeks. It's quite compelling.
It all sounds too good to be true, right?
It does a little bit, but the key here lies in understanding the type of exercise they focused on, which are called eccentric contractions.
Okay, eccentric and tricks, that sounds kind of intimidating.
It's not as complicated as it might sound.
Okay, good.
So think about how your muscles work.
Right.
When you lift a weight, for example,
Yeah.
your muscle shortens, right? That's called a concentric contraction.
Okay, like the bicep curl.
Exactly. Now, an isometric contraction is when your muscle tenses up but stays the same length, like holding a plank.
Got it.
Now, eccentric is the opposite of concentric.
Oh.
Basically, your muscle is working, it's contracting, but instead of shortening, it's actually lengthening under tension.
Interesting. So it's like resisting the motion.
Precisely. Like, think about lowering that weight slowly after a bicep curl. Or, the study actually uses the example of sitting down in a chair slowly.
Oh, okay, I can picture that.
Yeah, so your front thigh muscles, those quads, they're working hard to control that descent. You're not just plopping down, you're resisting gravity. And in that process, the muscles are lengthening while they're engaged.
So it's not about the explosive movement, it's about that controlled lowering phase.
Exactly. And the study's definition actually describes it as slowly stretching contracting muscles, such as sitting in a chair slowly, in which the front thigh muscles are lengthened while supporting the body weight.
Okay, so that makes sense in the context of the chair example, but what other exercises were they having people do in this study?
Well, they had a few key ones to illustrate this principle of eccentric contraction. So like you said, chair squats, but focusing on that slow, controlled lowering down onto the chair.
Okay.
They also had chair reclines, where you're slowly leaning back again, emphasizing that controlled lengthening of the back muscles.
Interesting.
Then there were wall push-ups, where the focus is on that slow descent towards the wall, and heel drops, where you're really paying attention to the gradual lowering of your heel below the level of your toes.
So it's all about that negative movement that's the key.
Exactly. And what's really cool about all of these exercises is that they're body weight exercises.
Right. You don't need a fancy gym membership or equipment.
You can do them anywhere, anytime.
That's a big deal, I think, for a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely. It removes so many barriers to entry,
Yeah.
right? Like some people might feel intimidated by the gym or they simply don't have access to one.
And that's something Professor Ken Nosaka, who is one of the researchers on this study, highlighted too.
Yeah, he specifically mentioned the accessibility factor, saying that this type of exercise is also more accessible to most people as it makes use of body weight and eliminates the need to go to a gym.
So they're accessible, but do they actually work?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And the answer, thankfully, is yes.
Awesome.
The study actually measured some pretty significant physical improvements in the participants in just 4 weeks.
4 weeks? That's pretty impressive.
It is. They saw noticeable gains in muscle strength flexibility and something called strength endurance.
Strength endurance, what's that?
So strength endurance basically refers to your muscle's ability to perform repeated movements or hold a contraction for a longer period of time without getting fatigued.
Oh, okay. So like if I was doing those wall push-ups,
Yeah,
my strength endurance would determine how many I could do before my arms gave out.
exactly. And Professor Nosaka was quite clear about the effectiveness of this type of exercise. He stated that The results highlighted that eccentric exercises are very effective in improving fitness.
So for people who weren't really exercising regularly before this study, those are some pretty exciting results, especially considering it only took 5 minutes a day.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable, right? And it gets even better because the study also found a positive impact on mental well-being.
That's huge because we all know how connected our mental and physical health are.
Absolutely. They go hand in hand.
So what exactly did they find in terms of mental health improvements?
The participants reported feeling better mentally after the 4 weeks.
That's great.
Now, the study didn't go deep into the specific reasons behind this, but it does support what we already know about the strong link between physical activity and mental well-being.
Right, even small amounts of exercise can make a difference.
Exactly. It's thought that even short bursts of activity can release endorphins, which have mood-boosting effects.
And maybe there's something about the controlled nature of these eccentric exercises that also helps.
Yeah, perhaps it promotes a sense of mindfulness or a feeling of accomplishment, which could contribute to that positive mental shift.
And, thinking about how busy most of us are, 5 minutes a day feels doable.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's not this huge, overwhelming commitment.
It's not like trying to block out an hour for a full-blown workout, which, let's face it, can feel impossible sometimes.
Yeah, I know. I've definitely been there.
Professor Nosaka actually addressed that too. He pointed out that the eccentric exercises can also be spread out during the day, which makes it more achievable to those who are time poor.
Oh, that's a great point. You could do a set of chair squats while your coffee's brewing,
Exactly.
some wall push-ups during a break from work,
Isn't look him in?
and heel drops while you're brushing your teeth at night.
You got it.
You don't have to do it all at once, which makes it so much more flexible and adaptable to a busy lifestyle.
Flexibility is key for sure, and I think it's important to acknowledge the bigger picture here
Right.
because the statistics around physical inactivity are pretty alarming.
Yeah, they are. The study cites some data from Australia,
Hmm.
but I think this is a global issue.
Oh, absolutely. It's a widespread problem. So in Australia alone, they estimate that physical inactivity contributes to a staggering 5.3 million deaths each year.
That's a huge number.
And when you look at how many people are actually meeting the recommended guidelines for both aerobic exercise and muscle strengthening activities, the numbers are pretty low.
Yeah, shockingly low. Only about 19% of adults in Australia were meeting both sets of guidelines, according to the study.
And it's not just about avoiding those worst case scenarios, right?
Right.
It's about maintaining our overall health and quality of life as we age.
Because our fitness levels naturally decline as we get older.
They do. Professor Nosaka mentioned that on average, fitness levels can decrease by 1 to 2% per year after the age of 30.
That's a significant drop over time.
It is, and it can make us more susceptible to chronic diseases, injuries, persistent fatigue, not to mention the impact on mental well-being.
And that's why this idea of incorporating regular exercise, even if it's just these short bursts of 5 minutes, becomes so important.
Absolutely. It's about being proactive and taking those small steps to mitigate those risks and prioritize our health as we get older.
So when we look at everything we've discussed, what's the takeaway message from this study? What do the researchers really want us to understand?
I think Professor Nosaka sums it up perfectly when he says, even small amounts of daily exercise can provide sustainable and detectable benefits in sedentary individuals.
That's a powerful statement.
It is, because it shifts our focus away from that all-or-nothing mentality that can be so overwhelming.
Right. It's not about punishing workouts. It's about consistency, even in small doses.
Exactly.
All right, so let's bring it all home for our listeners.
Okay.
We've spent this deep dive exploring a fascinating study. Study finds 5-minute daily eccentric exercises can boost mental and physical health. And what we've discovered is that dedicating just 5 minutes each day to these specific eccentric bodyweight exercises can actually lead to some pretty remarkable improvements in your overall health.
That's right. We're talking increased muscle strength, better flexibility, improved strength endurance, and even a boost to your mental well-being.
And the best part is you don't need any special equipment or a gym membership. You can do these exercises anywhere, anytime.
Just using your own body weight and focusing on those controlled lengthening movements.
So if you're feeling overwhelmed by the thought of traditional workouts or you're short on time, this could be a game changer.
It really could be.
So we have to ask, given how little time it actually takes, could incorporating these 5 minutes of eccentric exercises be the simple yet powerful shift your day and your health needs?
It's a question worth pondering for sure.
What if consistently prioritizing just 5 minutes of this mindful movement each day unlocks more energy and better mental clarity than you ever imagined?
I don't know about you, but I'm definitely going to give it a try.
Me too. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
Absolutely. This was a good one.
We'll catch you next time.
See ya.